All right, so get this, Palantir.
Pronounced Palantir.
Yeah, Palantir has been called like Wall Street's new darling, and we're going to figure out, is it too late to buy in?
That's right.
It's already been a 10-bagger since 2023.
Yeah.
So if you invested back then, you'd have 10 times your money right now.
Exactly.
Crazy. So let's dive into this world of Palantir and see if this rocket ship still has room for us.
Sounds good.
All right, so first of all, like, what a cool name.
Yeah.
Where'd they get that name from?
It's actually straight out of Tolkien's Lord of the Rings. The Palantirs, remember those? The seeing stones?
Yeah.
Allowed people to see events happening far away. That's kind of the idea behind the company.
I see. So less about magic, more about, making sense of all the data.
Exactly.
Okay.
So they've got two main platforms, Gotham and Foundry. Gotham is for government agencies, and Foundry is for commercial clients. But they're both about, finding connections and patterns that would otherwise remain hidden.
Okay, so walk me through this a little bit. So how does Gotham actually work, like in the real world?
Sure. So imagine a counterterrorism unit.
Okay.
They're trying to, piece together all this fragmented intel, right? Travel records, financial transactions, maybe some whispers on the dark web.
Right.
Gotham can ingest all of that,
Mm-hmm.
connect the dots, and then, pinpoint a threat before it even materializes.
So it's like having like an AI detective with a sixth sense for danger.
Exactly.
Okay, wow. That's pretty amazing. So what about Foundry then? How's that being used in the business world?
Okay, so let's say you have a global manufacturing company. They're grappling with supply chain disruptions, something we've all become very familiar with recently.
Yeah.
Foundry can analyze data from suppliers, shipping routes, even weather patterns to optimize, the entire flow of goods.
So less waste, faster deliveries, and ultimately just a healthier bottom line for that company.
Exactly.
I got it. So both platforms are about finding that needle in a haystack, but with data as the hayride. But how do they do it? What's the secret sauce here?
It's all about the ontology.
Ontology. It sounds like something you'd study in like a philosophy class, right?
Yeah.
But in Palantir's world, it's their core technology. Think of it as like a blueprint, okay? It defines how different pieces of information relate to each other. It's like teaching the system to understand not just the what of data, but also, the why and the how it all fits together.
So if data is the raw material,
Yeah.
ontology is like the instruction manual that tells Palantir how to build something meaningful with it.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, and this ability to connect these seemingly disparate data points, that's got to be valuable.
Oh, incredibly valuable.
Especially because we live in this age of data is the new oil, right?
Right, that's right.
But honestly, what does that even mean?
It means just like crude oil needs to be refined to be useful.
Yeah.
Raw data needs to be processed and analyzed so we can get valuable insights from it.
Uh-huh.
So, in a way, Palantir's building the refineries for the information age.
Okay.
And the companies that can harness that data,
Mm-hmm.
they have a huge advantage. They can make better decisions, optimize their operations, and even anticipate future trends.
Okay. Starting to see why investors are going crazy for this company.
Yeah.
But what about the people behind this technology?
Right.
Who's steering this ship?
That would be Alex Karp, the CEO.
Okay.
And he's not your typical Silicon Valley CEO, let's just say that.
I've heard that.
Yeah.
Some might even call him a little batshit crazy.
Yeah.
He's always talking about modern warfare and the battlefield of tomorrow. It's like, does he think he's running a defense contractor or a data analytics company?
Well, I mean, Karp's focus on national security has definitely shaped Palantir's, trajectory.
Okay.
They've got some massive government contracts and his vision, although it is controversial.
Has been a driving force behind their success. So, whether this approach will continue to attract investors is another question.
Right, because even if the technology is groundbreaking, if the CEO spooks the market, that can be a major liability.
Absolutely.
So where does Palantir fit into the existing landscape?
Okay.
Could they actually replace a company like SAP?
That's a really interesting question,
Yeah.
and the answer is a little bit nuanced.
Hit me with the nuance.
Okay, so SAP is like this comprehensive toolkit for managing a business, accounting, HR, everything.
Right.
Palantir is a very specialized instrument specifically for data analysis and integration. They could definitely work together, though.
I see.
Imagine SAP handling like the day-to-day operations, and then Palantir's extracting like deeper insights from that data to inform the strategic decisions.
So not a direct competitor, more like a powerful ally.
Exactly. Think of it this way. SAP provides the raw ingredients, and then a Palantir helps you whip up, like a Michelin star dish.
Okay, I like that analogy.
Yeah. Now, to understand Palantir's potential, it's helpful to compare them to another big name in the data world, Snowflake.
Yeah, I've heard of Snowflake. They're kind of a big deal, but how do they stack up against Palantir? Are they competitors, collaborators, or something else?
Think of it this way. Snowflake's like a massive state-of-the-art warehouse where you store vast amounts of data.
Oh.
They're all about efficiency and accessibility, keeping things organized.
So they're like the librarians of the data world.
A perfect analogy.
Okay.
Palantir is less interested in just storing data.
Okay.
They're the detectives, the code breakers, the ones who dive into that warehouse and uncover the hidden connections, the patterns, and ultimately actionable insights.
Okay, got it. So not rivals vying for the same turf, but rather they occupy different niches within this whole data ecosystem.
Right.
Which brings us to the question on everyone's mind. Is Palantir stock still a good buy after this crazy rise?
Well, that's where things get really fascinating. Their stock performance has been a bit of a roller coaster after going public in 2020. It surged, fueled by investor enthusiasm and this promise of massive growth.
Right. That initial surge was hard to miss.
Right.
But I've also heard the ride hasn't been smooth.
Yeah.
What's been driving the volatility?
Well, like any high-growth company,
Sure.
Palantir's faced, market fluctuations,
Right.
concerns about profitability, broader economic trends. These all play a role in how their stock performs.
So not a set it and forget it type of investment then?
Definitely not. Investing in a company like Palantir requires a certain level of risk tolerance and a belief in their long-term vision.
Okay.
But here's the interesting part. Despite the ups and downs, Palantir stock has shown remarkable resilience in recent times.
Resilience. What's driving that?
Well, they've had strong earnings reports, major government contracts. These factors have reassured investors and fueled their confidence in Palantir's future prospects.
So is that a buy signal then?
Before we rush to buy anything, let's look at some key metrics.
Yeah.
Currently, Palantir boasts a market cap of around $150 billion.
Wow.
That's a hefty valuation, especially considering their annual revenue sits at around $3 billion.
Okay, so a high market cap that suggests that investors are betting big on future growth.
Exactly. They're anticipating Palantir's continued expansion and their ability to capitalize on this, ever-growing importance of data analysis.
Right.
But it's also worth noting that their price-to-sales ratio, which compares market cap to revenue, sits at a rather high 57.
That's good.
That's significantly above the industry average.
So a high valuation relative to their current revenue. What about their PE ratio?
That one's even more eye-popping.
Right.
A whopping 329, far above industry norms.
Wow.
This indicates a lot of optimism is baked into their stock price. Investors are expecting significant earnings growth in the future.
Okay, so a lot of potential, but also a lot of expectation riding on their ability to deliver.
Right.
Are they making money right now? What about their earnings per share?
They are profitable, yes.
Okay.
Their earnings per share, or EPS, currently sits at 20 cents.
Right.
Not stellar, but it shows they're on the right track.
Okay, and what about their cash reserves? Do they have the financial firepower to fuel their ambitions?
They do. They have a very healthy cash position with about $3.7 billion on hand.
Okay.
This gives them a lot of flexibility to invest in R&D, expand into new markets, or even make strategic acquisitions.
So it sounds like Palantir's sitting on a pile of cash, generating profits, and has investors drooling over their prospects. But a sky-high valuation also means there's a lot of room to fall.
That's the tension with growth stocks.
Yeah.
The potential rewards are high, but so are the risks.
This is all fascinating stuff, but let's bring it back to our listener. They want to know, is it too late to buy Palantir?
The million-dollar question.
Yeah, they missed the boat.
There's no easy answer to that.
Right.
To make an informed decision, we need to consider not just their current financials, but the bigger picture as well.
All right, so we've got this company, powerful tech, unconventional CEO, and a stock that's been on a wild ride. What's the verdict? Is the Palantir train still accepting passengers?
Well, remember, their whole business model hinges on this idea that data is the new oil.
Right.
If that's true, then Palantir's positioned to be a major player in the information age.
Yeah.
They're not just analyzing data, they're building the infrastructure to make sense of it, to connect the dots in ways that were impossible before.
Right, like those seeing stones we were talking
Does
about.
the work.
But for the real world.
Exactly.
But even if data IS, the new oil,
Right.
doesn't that mean there's going to be a lot of competition out there?
Sure.
Can Palantir really maintain its edge?
That's a valid concern. I mean, they're not the only player in this data analytics game,
Of course.
but their focus on ontology, their ability to build those complex relationships within data sets gives them a unique advantage.
Uh-huh.
They're not just offering a platform, they're selling a way of thinking about data.
Okay, and that whole national security angle, all the government contracts,
Right.
does that help or hurt them in the long run? I mean, it's got to be lucrative, but it also makes them a target for controversy.
It's a double-edged sword for sure.
Yeah.
On one hand, they've secured a foothold in a very profitable and, strategically important market.
Right.
But on the other hand, their work with government agencies does raise some ethical questions
Of course.
about privacy, surveillance, and the potential for their technology to be misused.
So for potential investors, it comes down to weighing those risks and rewards.
Yeah,
right?
exactly.
The tech's impressive, the growth potential is there.
Yeah.
But there are also some serious questions about the company's future direction and the ethical implications of what they do.
You've got it.
So what's the takeaway for our listener who's trying to decide whether to jump on board with this?
It all comes down to individual risk tolerance and investment goals.
Okay.
Do your research, understand the company, consider the potential downsides as well as the upsides, and then make an informed decision.
All right, there you have it. Our deep dive into Palantir, the company making waves in the data world with their seeing stone technology. We've explored their platforms, their leadership, their financials, and their future prospects.
Absolutely. And as we wrap up, I want to leave you with this thought. If data truly is the new oil, then understanding companies like Palantir is crucial whether you decide to invest in them or not.
Yeah.
They're shaping the future, and we need to be aware of the implications of that.
So keep learning, keep questioning, and keep diving deep into the world around us. Until next time.